Nice highlights, eh? Hey guys, welcome back to Cake Time. It's been a while, it's been a long while. But anyway, this is a how-to video. How-to videos, I explain how to do things in the simplest terms possible. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how to do the International Baccalaureate program, or as other people call it, the IB, or as other people call it, the worst 2 years of your life. It's all about perspective though, it's not the worst 2 years of your life. So in this video, instead of actually just sharing my own thoughts and tips on how to do the diploma, I asked people to ask questions that they would have liked answered when they did the diploma, and questions that people have who are doing the diploma right now. And using those, I'm gonna answer those questions and share my own tips, and hopefully by the end of this video it'll be good. I realize that there are a lot of things I'm gonna talk about in this video. It's probably gonna be long and you're looking at it like, do I really wanna watch like 15-20 minutes of video? And I understand that. So down in the description I've linked timestamps for the different things that I'm gonna talk about, so you can just go to those and skip ahead. I hope this helps you. If it does help you, drop a like. If it helps you a lot, just subscribe. If it helps you, let me know how it helped you too. So like I said, I'm going to be answering the questions and then putting my own tips, advice on top of that. So let's go. So the first things I'm going to talk about are to do with like time management and balancing your work life type thing. First question I got here is, how do you prioritize in IB and ensure you've balanced academics, social life, and extracurriculars? That, my friend, is a very interesting question because you've already answered it yourself. To achieve balance in academic, social life, extracurriculars, whatever else you're doing, you just need to prioritize. And the best way to be able to explain that, I think, yeah, let me show you. Hey guys, we're back here again, and right now we're going to show the importance of prioritizing your time and how that will lead to effective balance. So here I have different things that I'm invested in. Oh, whoa, there's a dog. Chill, no, be calm, leave now. As I was saying, here I have different things that I may be invested in when I'm doing the IB. Let's say this is social life, this is my family life, this is my extracurriculars, my academics, and say this is my girlfriend maybe. And here I have my time. So if I'm smart, I'll give each one of these the amount it needs, no more, no less. And this isn't always the easiest thing to achieve because you might not know how much is needed in each, you see. But at the beginning you should at least know what kind of time is needed for each. For example, when you're doing the IB, you're probably gonna wanna spend more time on your academics than on your girlfriend. But sometimes, watch this, we invest too much time, and then look what's happening to water. Where does it go? It falls out and it doesn't come back. The time doesn't come back. You can't just like switch it like this, you know. Hindsight is 20/20, but you can't just switch the time. The time is already gone. You can't switch it around. So you have to be very careful about where you put your time. But what you need to strive to do is do it in such a way that you strike a very nice balance where you're able to get enough social life, family time, I don't know what that was, academics, extracurriculars, and maybe time with your girlfriend. Okay, back to the thing. So I hope that skit with that guy, he looked pretty cool, explained what prioritization is and how you should prioritize. You need to give time to different things accordingly and not spend too much time on one thing. An important thing also is being honest with yourself and knowing what you want to balance. So a lot of us may want to balance things like relationships or extracurriculars that we don't necessarily enjoy. So you have to ask yourself, do you really want to give your time to that thing? Is it worth giving it? Not just right now, but also in the long term. And such things will help you prioritize better. Next question. Does a schedule work? If not, how do you balance? Personally, for me, a schedule did not work because when I write things down and give them specific times, if I don't meet those specific times, I get very frustrated. And knowing how spontaneous of a person I am, I know that I'm not able to work with those specific confines. That said, when I wake up every day, or at least when I was doing the IB, I'd had an idea of what I'm going to do throughout the day. And just having that in mind, thinking about it all through as I'm doing my morning routine, that put me in the frame of mind to go and do those things and know what I have to do. But if a schedule works for you, if seeing what you need to do helps, go for it. It definitely works. But another thing is that sometimes when you make a schedule and you're starting it, like at the beginning of the day, it might seem like a lot. So you'll see you have to study for this, then this, then this, then this, then this. And it can be overwhelming. But again, it's about figuring out what works for you. So I would advise that you try a schedule because it works. It's been shown to work. But if it doesn't work for you, experiment with other different things and see how they turn out. Next question. Tips on how to balance work and play. Again, that's just down to prioritization. You have to figure out what you want, how much you want it, and what you're willing to sacrifice, and how much time you're willing to sacrifice for it. If you really love football and you know it's something that you want to pursue seriously, then it's definitely worth it to sacrifice time and put time into that. But you're gonna have to take away time from something else. So when you're balancing work and play, you just have to think about, do I need this right now, and am I willing to sacrifice time to do this? But in general, you do need to rest when you're doing the IB. It can sometimes seem like people are just working. But the only way to get out of it sane and healthy is to rest. I've made a video, I'll link it up here, about resting and the importance of planning to rest as well as planning to work. So tips on balancing work and play: prioritize, make time. Next question. How do you manage IB and swimming? IB and swimming was tough, and okay, I'll tell you how it went. In DP1, I started swimming. I would train 5-6 times a week, and that's definitely not as much as I was training when I was in Nairobi, but it worked. And then the pool got closed for a month. That was in October of my DP1 year, and during that month I just went to the gym a lot, and I lost a lot of psych for swimming because basically I didn't swim. So when the second term of DP1 came, I didn't swim as much because I got it more into videography and photography. That had its pros and cons, but yeah, I found myself there. I still trained about 3-4 times a week and a lot of gym. And I did compete a couple of times, but not at a level that, now looking back, that I would have liked to. DP2, our coach there were some issues with teaching certificates and I don't know what. So he ended up not coaching us at our school. And so in the first term I trained once a week, and most of the time it was by myself. So it was really hard to maintain it because I wasn't really supported. And then we got another coach who was the PE teacher. I trained under him in the second half of DP2. I went to a couple of competitions. I actually qualified to represent Kenya at the East Africa Secondary School Games. I began to swim more at the end of DP2, mostly because DP2 is pretty tough. But it is possible to maintain sports and other extracurriculars at a high level. For example, my friend, he went to Thailand to a school where they support athletes, so he got a lot of support and was able to swim consistently 8-7 times a week, while in DP2 even, because the school supported him. So it's one about your will to do it and also about the support around you. So how did I manage IB and swimming? I kind of didn't, but I did try my best though. Yeah. Next question. How do you balance studying for HLs and SLs? Again, it comes to prioritization. So you have to look at your subjects and know which ones need more attention and which don't. For example, I took chemistry at SL level, and I think I credit this mostly to my teacher. I found it was probably my easiest subject. And I know a lot of people wouldn't agree, but for me personally, I didn't have to devote a lot of time to chemistry because in class everything just clicked like this. Before our test, I'd just look through my notes, maybe do some practice questions, and just easy as that. But it's not the same for everybody. Chemistry was so easy for me, but something like English was not, so I would have to spend extra time on that. And I would suggest creating a list of your subjects in order of difficulty. You might find that you need more time to put in an SL than a HL. For example, for me, I put more time definitely into something like English than maybe, no, that's cap. I put more time into my HLs. My HLs were physics, math, and ITGS, so yeah. But yeah, I definitely put a lot more time into my HLs like math and physics because they required a lot more time. But whichever subjects you do, just make a list, see which ones need more time, and find a way to give them the time they deserve. Yes. If I'm doing IB, will I be able to play 2 sports at the same time in different clubs away from school? What you're asking is, will you be able to play two different sports away from school while doing IB? I mean, anything is possible, but that's gonna be really hard. You're gonna have to sacrifice a lot of time. Your social life may suffer. If you're willing to take that, take it. And probably you're not going to be able to get to such a high level at both the sports simply because they're 2 sports. I would recommend focusing on one sport because that allows you to put more effort into it and you'll probably go further. But by all means, pursue these 2 sports and IB, but just be ready to sacrifice a lot more than other people. This is the last question to do with time management and balance. When do you pick academics over passions? That's a very interesting question because I feel like I went through something like that. In DP1, the second semester, I found myself having the opportunity to go swim at nationals in Nairobi or to speak at this. We're talking to parents about the diploma program and I guess its benefits and all that for parents who wanted to bring their kids. And I was offered the opportunity to speak at that event. So I thought, should I go for this nationals, which I've gone for like since I was maybe 14, or should I take this opportunity to learn something new, enhance a new skill, and develop myself? And I ended up taking up the speaking opportunity. Do I regret it? No, because it did help me develop my public speaking skills. And I think it's all about what matters to you in those points in time. Will it be your academics or your passions? And it varies from time to time. Sometimes you have to choose your passions because you just have to stick up for yourselves. I know a lot of times I was told to like maybe stop swimming just for a little bit because it was making me go to breakfast late, miss tutorial and those first things. I didn't really. Yeah, I chose my passions there. So it all depends on what matters to you the most. That's been it on time management and balance. Again, the key to this is prioritizing, and the key to being good at prioritizing is being honest with yourself, being honest with what you want in life, what you want from life, and being honest with what you're willing to put, what kind of effort you're willing to put in. If you're willing to put in the amount of effort required to play 2 sports at the same time out of school, go for it. But if you're not willing to do so, don't force yourself to do it. Know yourself, know your bounds, know your limits. Try push them, but not to a point where it's unsustainable. Okay, let's go to the next topic. So next we're going to be talking about procrastination, which is it's a serious problem. Procrastination has ended a lot of careers in the DP program. So let's talk about it. The first question here is how not to procrastinate. That's very interesting. So procrastination at times I've found from seeing what other people are going through is caused by, one, being overwhelmed by too much stuff, two, not knowing what to do, and three, procrastination. And what I mean by this is, when you procrastinate, let's just go through all of them at the same time. First, being overwhelmed. When you have a lot of stuff to do and a lot of on your plate, as there will be in DP2, it's easy to be really to back down during the stress. And I mean, it can be a natural instinct during those things. It's either fight or flight, and some of us it's just naturally flight. We're gonna try and go to a safe space, avoid all the work at all costs, because we just can't bear the thought of doing it. To solve this, I would suggest breaking it down into small parts. So I know for us, at least, when we came back to school, there was a week where we just had a bunch of stuff, and it did crack some people. What I did and what I do when I have, actually generally in all time, is just break down the things into what you need to do right now, rather than looking at the big picture while you're doing the work. For example, for the extended essay, if I'm starting the introduction, yani at the beginning from the first words, if I think about the 4,000 word essay, those first words might be like, wow, I have a long way to go. But if I think about making the best introduction that I can, the best 300 word introduction I can, it becomes so much easier. And so just looking at tasks like that, breaking them down into smaller things that need to be done, and doing your best in those things can help reduce that anxiety and that feeling of being overwhelmed with too much. And you find that when you start doing those small things, the bigger thing starts to change, and it works out. At least for me, that's how it worked. So the second thing that causes procrastination is not knowing what to do. When you don't know what to do, you can't really do, So it does get difficult when you have a math IA but you have no idea, or when you have a whole presentation due tomorrow but you don't know how to do a presentation. And for things like this, you need to be proactive, and you need to take responsibility to make the fact that you don't know your problem. You need to go out of your way and talk to peers, teachers, whoever, the internet. Just find out how you can get stuff done, and through that you will hopefully do what needs to be done. The third thing I want to talk about is procrastination. When you procrastinate, more procrastination is bound to come. If you say, I'm going to do this on Thursday, and then something comes up here, you're supposed to do this here, but you also need to do this, so you procrastinate this and this, and it just piles up. So if you can avoid procrastinating from the beginning and just try and get work done, that helps. And so my own tips on procrastination: just avoid it if you can. Again, try do things in a bite-sized manner where it's swallowable pieces rather than the entire meal. Make it your responsibility to find out what you need to do. Make sure you don't procrastinate, because that can lead to more procrastination. And if you're going to procrastinate, make sure it's very intentional, very conscious, and try it out a few times before you start doing it for important things. And last but not least, don't slack. So guys, I'm currently editing the video. My back camera doesn't work, so I can't show you what I'm editing, but I just found that I talked way too much. The video is already really long. The video is already very long, so I'm gonna make a part 1. This is part 1, and then there'll be a part 2. Tell me what you enjoyed from this video and what you'd like to see in the part 2. If I've not already talked about it, I will then add it to that part 2. Okay, see you.